Well, I don't know about that because, life is too short to be hog mild. I had just started working and we were in the office and this guy calls in who was like a mutually known person to everybody in the office. Not the most respectable fella. Calls in. He calls a guy that doesn't have a car and says, "Hey, I'm in some trouble. I've got a dog in my apartment. I'm not allowed to have this dog. I got in a fight with somebody and there's a hole in my wall. And so my landlord is coming to inspect and I've got to get this dog to the, SPCA before the landlord comes in." The guy he calls doesn't have a car. So he looks around the room. He's like, "Hey, does anybody want to pick up this dog and take it to the SPCA?" And everybody was like, because we knew the guy well enough to be like, I'm busy, I'm doing stuff. And then he calls our director, my, boss at the time. And so he comes out and he's like, "Hey, just got a call. So-and-so's looking to get a dog to the SPCA." He does that thing where he kind of puts his hand on my shoulder. He's like, "Oh, no." I get some info. I'm told that it's a puppy, and that it's like a pit lab mix. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's a small dog. It's going to be like well-behaved or whatever. And I look at my roommate at the time, or my housemate at the time was in the room. I was like, "Hey, man, you comfortable if we just have a dog for a couple weeks? And like, I'll try to find it a home, like a good family, instead of taking it to the SPCA." And he's like, "Yeah, sure. I don't mind." I was like, "All right, I guess I'm picking this dog up." I drive to VCU's campus and I'm like parked outside this guy's apartment building. Background on this guy, he goes by Joker. He has the Jared Leto Joker tattoos.
Like the worst one.
Yeah, henceforth in the story, he'll be referred to as Joker. So I text the guy and I'm like, "Hey, I'm here." Joker comes around the corner. He's got this dog on a leash. You can see the dog's ribs. She's malnourished. Like pulling him through the street, like really hard. This is where it kind of gets weird. He was like, "Yeah, her name's Diamond, but I call her Mamas." He's like, she's such a hoot. She got in the shower with me the other day. I didn't get much background on how he got the dog. I think it was like a Jamaican restaurant or something, Caribbean food. It was there for like a month. Supposedly he got the dog from like the line cook there or something. None of this is really adding up. And you're just coming off of a supposed death match in your apartment. He puts the dog in my car and he's like, "Thank you so much." He's like, "I trust you." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna find a home for her." Turns out that home was mine. She started just following me around everywhere and just kind of became attached. And then Chris, who's been on the show,
one of the dads puts his hand on the shoulder of one of the kids, like, "Oh, that's his son." And then he just clocks the kid.
Gave her a name. And after that, it was endgame.
Wait, what'd you name her, Noah?
Kona.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, Kona's a cute pup.
Yeah, she's a good dog. It was funny too because I was, pretty broke at the time, and I think it was an irresponsible move to just get a dog. And I remember sitting down in a park. Like, I took her for a walk, and I was like, "Oh man, what do I do with a dog? Like, what are you supposed to do?"
It's a bit of a who saved who situation.
Exactly. She rescued me.
I remember a night, it was like Halloween, when we had a stranger come into your house. Remember that?
Oh, Kwaku, yeah.
We inserted ourselves into a party. Like, your neighbors were having a house party, and we definitally just infiltrated it.
We were in the kitchen, just us, like stealing Smirnoff out of the fridge. And this other guy was kind of there. And we're like, "Hey, man, have you tried this stuff?" And we're like just kind of talking about the Smirnoff. We introduced ourselves. He's like, "My name's Kwaku." He mentioned one of the freshman dorms. And we're like, "Oh, this guy's a freshman. Let's just give him a crazy night." We're like, "Oh man, we live right over here. You want to come with us and hang out at our place and leave what's obviously, a full party right now?" I started making pancakes, and every now and then I would go in the room and check on him and be like, "Hey, just so you know, these are good pancakes. There's nothing in them. I was like, there's nothing wrong with these pancakes. Paige, you and Chris both started assuring this guy that there was nothing wrong with the pancakes we were serving him.
Dude, that would be the most obtuse way to ruin somebody.
Yeah.
And there's not. Like, there's no reason for us to be.
And I think if I remember correctly, I served him first. So he's just kind of sitting with a plate of pancakes before everybody else. And I'm like, they're good. They're nothing wrong. It became a running bit that Paige just hated him. And was like, Paige was the guest that night.
Yeah, I was like, I'm crashing on the couch, right? Not him.
Eventually I think he left and went home. But there's a finale to this story, an epilogue, if you will. Years later, almost 5 years later to be precise, Chris and I called him at 2 a.m.
Oh, shit. I forgot you told me this. Yeah.
Chris is like kind of reliving, sophomore year of college. And he's like, do you remember picking up that freshman? What was his name? And he was like, I think it was Quaku. I was like, that's can't be real. That's a fake name. He scrolls through his contacts and finds Quaku. Calls him up at 2 a.m. and he answers. And he's like, yo, what's up? And we're like, hey, it's Noah and Chris. he's like, who? And we were like, let's jog your memory a little bit. Do you remember 5 years ago when you were a freshman at VCU, guys made you pancakes? And
one of them didn't really like you that much.
Yeah. He was like, yo, I think about that all the time.
There was nothing wrong with the pancakes, but there was something wrong with my behavior. I apologize.